the waste management people that throws the trash into the back of the truck, jumps off, and he is guiding the driver back so that they can safely back up. And as the truck is moving backwards, he ran to jump to get on it, and he slipped on the step and went under the rear wheel.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Big Papita 396. That happened December, just before Christmas 2024. So the story was uploaded December 20th, 2024. So just before Christmas. So I'm assuming, right before the holidays, this happened. And when it comes to the life critical rules, this is a reason why they have those rules in place. Now, from what I gathered, these gentlemen, they were servicing a street, and they had a rear loader. And I remember I had just made a video where I talked about how that rear loader is dangerous. Well, he's backing up the rear loader. They get to a stop. They service the bulky stop because it was a bulky pickup. And the helper attempts to jump back on the truck, but he slips and goes under the truck. The driver doesn't stop. He continues to back up over the sanitation worker. The young man was only 22 years old. 22 years old. And his life was pretty much over before it even started. All right? And I feel bad for all of the, his family. But it's just crazy how stuff like that happens in the industry. I'm going to upload more videos like this. But when the company has these life critical rules where they say never back a vehicle with someone on the riding steps, this is the reason why. That's the number one life critical rule. Never back a vehicle with someone on the riding steps. That is the reason why, because freak accidents, things like that, these type of things happen. And once it happens, it can't be undone. Once again, the young man was 22 years old. He got up, he clocked in, he went to work that morning. He didn't make it back. He didn't make it back home. Now, the family, I'm assuming whatever family he had, are still kind of like, how did this happen? Type of deal. So, just something to be mindful of. Quick video. Think about how much of a responsibility it is to be a garbage truck operator, right? And the responsibility that you have to be as safe as you possibly can, right? To try to implement as much as, especially the life critical rules, but just safety as a whole. Like why these things are important, because this happened in Jacksonville, Florida, right? But that very well could have happened in Los Angeles. That could have happened in Arizona. That could have happened in Texas or Maine or Michigan, or it could have happened anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world. But this is a responsibility that we have, is to be as safe as we possibly can. It's not about all of the other things that I see drivers complain or argue about. like the number one thing really needs to be safety. And that's not to say that accidents don't happen, but you do not want to go home being the driver. You do not want to go home being the driver that was in that situation. You do not want to go home. Or you do not want to be in a situation that the helper was, that was on the riding steps backing the driver. And, if you're working with a helper, this is another thing that the company, at least in the company handbook, is that you go over your signals, your hand signals, how you want the person to back you up and what side, and you stop when you don't see the helper, things like that. Reason why these things are important is because these are the type of things that happen in the industry continuously. It's stuff constantly happening in the industry. And if it doesn't happen at Waste Management and it happens at a different company, it still affects everybody in the industry, because it's like, what can we learn from that? So we're not in a situation where there's a fatality, right? So something to think about.